Hello and welcome to EPG Pathshala. This is Professor G. Srinivas Reddy, former Professor of Public Administration, Kakatiya University, Warangal, Telangana State. Today we have a presentation on Abraham Maslow, who is one of the major thinkers of management and administration. Abraham Maslow has contributed to a distinct theory and perhaps the most fascinating theory of motivation, and this theory is known as theory of need hierarchy. In the course of this presentation, we will see first his life sketch and important works. Second, his conception of humanistic approach to management and administration. Number three, his theory of motivation. And finally, a critical evaluation of overall contribution of Abraham Maslow. Abraham Maslow was born in the year 1908 and died in the year 1917. Is the most popular and most interesting and fascinating theories of motivation. He was an American psychologist and is reckoned as the 10th most cited psychologist of 20th century. Most cited means his works are referred. He is 10th in that order. Now we come to his ideas on humanistic approach to management and administration. In public administration literature, there are two alternative formulations about human nature, about what is management, what is administration. One is known as mechanistic approach or mechanistic perception. The second is humanistic perception. The mechanistic perception of organization and administration views them in the light of a machine. A machine works if you follow certain principles of maintenance. Machine has no life of its own, no volition of its own. It will function if you operate the levers. If you switch on, it starts functioning. If you switch off, it stops functioning. People like Maslow believe that organization or administration is a human activity. It's a human entity. Human beings are there, and therefore, to understand management, you have to have a humanistic perspective. The humanistic perspective takes a more comprehensive view of the human nature. If you look at Abraham Maslow's theory of need hierarchy, which we shall have more details after some time, he tries to understand human being from the point of view of all his requirements, all the stages of his requirement, and all kinds of people are consumed or comprehended in his theory of motivation. He has acknowledged the physiological needs of people, the social needs of people, security needs of people, ego needs of people, and self-actualization needs of people. So he has tried to see people as people, and this is perhaps the important idea behind the humanistic approach to organization and management. The next and the most important contribution of Abraham Maslow is his theory of motivation. There are so many theories of motivation. Some of the theories of motivation are known as need theories. What these theories do is they raise the question, what is the source of motivation? And the answer by saying that motivation comes from need fulfillment. Now there is this need hierarchy theory of Abraham Maslow, 3-need theory of McClelland, 2-need theory of Herzberg. Various people have conceptualized needs variedly, differently. But everybody is saying that motivation is need fulfillment. Let us first understand what motivation is. Motivation is something that moves a person into action. Motivation comes from the Latin word mover. Motivation is some force that makes a passive person, a person who is sitting pretty, idling, to resort to some action. Because there are three components of motivation. Motivation is starting something, making a start. The second aspect of motivation is continuing in action till the goal is accomplished. The third important aspect of motivation is reaching the goal with a vigorous, high paced work, energetic application. Getting started, persisting or continuing in action state, and finally acting energetically till the goal is reached. This is the essence of motivation. As was mentioned earlier, people like Abraham Maslow see a great link, strong link between motivation and need fulfillment. It starts from the point that man is a needy animal. This is how some psychologists would define. Sociologists would say that man is a social animal. Political scientists would say that man is a political animal. Now, a psychologist would say man is a bundle of needs and wants. Motivation basically comes from fulfillment of needs. Now, from needs to goals, the formula for motivation is, now there is some deficiency. Deficiency is a need. For somebody who doesn't have a car is a need. Somebody who doesn't have money, money is a need. Somebody who doesn't have a house, a shelter of his own, house is a need. So, need is something which is deficient with the person. You can understand needs of the people by looking at their deficiencies. Now, when there are needs or deficiencies, a drive is generated in human personality. If it is an intelligent human being, of course, a dull-headed fellow may realize that he has a need, but he may stop at that. He won't do perhaps anything, but most of the people try to resort to some drives. Drive is spending some energy doing something to achieve what is missing with oneself. Maybe literally, you need something in some place, you are driving there, driving in a motor car, riding on a bike, driving a motor car, or riding a bicycle. You ride or drive till you reach the destination. Destination is the goal. So once goal is achieved, your need is fulfilled. And then the interesting aspect of human nature is that one need is fulfilled, you don't stop at that. You realize there is another need. Again, need is deficiency, drive is made, and you reach the goal. This is a kind of cyclical thing that goes on. So this is the anatomy of motivation. Motivation comprises of needs leading to drives, leading to goals. Now, coming back to Abraham Maslow, Abraham Maslow says that human needs are multiple, but among these needs, there is a particular relation. He's trying to help us by giving a formula to understand the varied human needs. It's very difficult to fathom the full range of needs. Sit quietly and start making a list, perhaps you will make a long list of needs. How to make sense of this? How to understand them? What is the relation between them? He has worked out a relationship and he has advanced a concept known as prepotency of needs. What this concept says is that, well, there are so many needs for every human being, but there is something like a prepotency. Something is dominating other needs. One need is suppressing other needs. Something like a dominant goon or gunda, trying to suppress everybody and get something for himself, breaking the queue, ignoring the niceties. Maybe that human needs have such tendency, something which is more deficient in the human being that becomes the leading need, the first need. Once that is fulfilled, Abraham Maslow says that a need that is not fulfilled leads to motivation. A need that is fulfilled goes to sleep. Then other need comes forward. So in this he has shown a kind of step-by-step relationship between various needs. And he presents them in the form of a ladder as well as in the form of an invert in a pyramid. He says basically all human needs can be divided into 5 categories. Starting from the base, assume need hierarchy is a 5-storied building. The basement is the foundation on which everything is standing. So the mere basal needs, the more basic needs, as foundation for a building is all too important, without which the superstructure cannot withstand the vagaries of the nature. A quick, fast wind will blow the whole house off. The base gives the anchor. The lowest or the basal needs are called by Abraham Maslow as physiological needs. Physiological needs are bodily needs. Human body or human being, for his or her survival, requires certain things: food, shelter, clothing, maybe water, even sex is also included as an important human need. Now, these things are something very, very basic. Every human being has these needs, irrespective of whether he is a great man or a small man, rich man or a poor man. These needs are there for everybody. Now, these needs cry attention. We may ignore many things in life. We need a car, we need maybe fancy gadgets, so many things, but we may just not bother about them every day. But every day, for sure, we bother about our food. We bother to have some water to drink. We want to rest. So these are things that are very, very important for everybody. Every human being has these needs. But among some human beings, these needs are squarely met, are more than met. And those people, once these needs are met, following from what Maslow says, a fulfilled need will not lead to motivation. So in a human being, the next level of needs come to surface. They occupy dominant position, and the second level of needs, according to him, are security needs. You need to have a shelter. People, the beggars and poor people, homeless, shelterless, they're all the time trying to get some food and drink and some of these things, and they can't afford to have a shelter. But suppose they become something better, they have some money, something to spare, they would definitely go for a house to give them security. Security from elements of nature, or security from fellow human beings. They may have some valued possessions which may be robbed by others. So you need to have security, and the comfort and security of a house you sleep off. No problem, no reptile, no snake will ever bite you and all that. You take enough care, and that's important. Second level of needs or security needs. Thus, once the security needs are fulfilled, once this is done, the next level of needs, third level of needs, are known as belongingness needs. Man becomes more human. To live in a social setting is the human need. Sociologists have said man is a social animal. To live a true human life, you need the company of others. If you don't have company, maybe this example, a poor man begging, doing all kinds of odd jobs, doesn't think about security. Once he has some level, goes for security. Then it's time for him to get married. He wants to have a woman as his wife, or a woman man for her life. Okay, this is belongingness, a family, relations, parents, meeting friends. So these are all needs. These are all social needs. Need for belonging. This is a human craving. Somebody should own you up. Somebody should say he is my good friend. Somebody should say that he is my son. In so many movies and real life, you see destitutes and orphans craving for belongingness. Sometimes they feel, even rich people, they feel empty in their life, emptiness in their life, because there is nobody to own them. So this is also a human need. Once this need is fulfilled, the fourth level of needs come, and these needs are known as ego needs. EGO, ego. At this point of time, a human being gets a feeling that he is somebody very important. A fellow who doesn't have food or shelter may not feel important. He has food, shelter, he has security, he has friends and loved ones to own him up. Now at this point of time, you get a sense of self-importance. We say pride, arrogance. These are some extreme dimensions of the ego needs. But they are there with some people. All others develop a sense of self-importance. Now some people stop at this level. I think in the whole hierarchy, first level, some people are at first level needs because they are not fully met. Some people are at second level needs. So out of all, most of them are there at the first level needs. What is the percentage of people in first level needs depends on country's material advancement. A country which is very rich, universal employment, all kinds of help from government, I think these things are solved. So there are many people who cross this first level. In a poor country, most of the people are there. Like in a country or society, in an organization also, some people are at that level. So the best way to motivate them is to fulfill their physiological needs. For some people, these physiological needs having been fulfilled, they don't get motivated. So therefore, you have to throw the baits of security. You have to offer them some security need fulfillment. Even that doesn't work. I think the number keeps on coming, getting reduced. Just to give a small hypothetical example, 75% are at the first level. Some 15% are at the second level. 5% are at the third level. And as you go up, the number goes down. The fourth level is ego needs. And when ego needs are also fulfilled, now all these things, all four things stop motivating the person. The money or security, the physiological needs, security needs, belongingness needs and ego needs, they don't any longer satisfy you. What one wants is self-actualization. So in the pyramid, at the top there is less room. So also among people there are very few people who are of this type. Most of the people are at physiological need fulfillment level. Some are at security need level. Some are at social or belongingness need fulfillment level. Some are at ego fulfillment level. Very, very few, maybe handful of people go to the top level, and that is self-actualization. Self-actualization is a kind of need felt by very, very, very few people, and those people think that they have to give full expression to their personality. They think that I am born with, sometimes we say, Karana Janma. No, you are born for a cause, you have to achieve something stupendous. The whole world should sing praise of you. Oh, here is a man who has done so much. So that kind of need becomes uppermost. And then you become very creative. Money and some of these things, hikes in salary, some of these things don't tempt you. What tempts you is that an inner satisfaction. You are the judge of your own achievement now. So this is the last stage of the need hierarchy. Well, this is the whole scheme of the need hierarchy. Therefore, what is the message given by Abraham Maslow is that don't try to motivate everybody with the same technique. Since people are different, since people have diverse needs, pay attention to study their needs and develop your motivational strategies. So the idea or the prescription for managers is that managers should not have a stereotyped view or one common approach to motivate everybody. Deeply understand, keenly understand, be watchful about the employees and their need structures, needs, study them, and tailor your strategies to fulfill those needs. Now we come to a critical appraisal of Abraham Maslow, his overall contributions. Now one major contribution which has already been discussed is he tried to humanize the administrative organization and the approaches to motivation. He has tried to understand the complex nature of human being. There are in public administration thinkers who have taken an economic view of man. There are some thinkers who have taken a social view of man. Abraham Maslow is combining both. He said social view and economic view are not two alternative perceptions of human nature, but all human beings will have both economic dimension and social dimension. He integrated them so beautifully. The starting point is economic and the ending point is social. So he says there is no dichotomy of human nature. One human being, the same human being who is materialistic, basically looking for economic incentives or economic gratification over a period of time when all things are secure, he will think of social gratification. And even later, even that is done, he looks for self-gratification. So this is one fascinating aspect of Abraham Maslow's theory. But coming to some criticism, there is no practical evidence to prove that he is right. Abraham Maslow has not made a study, a deep study or a serious study of human nature and then found this to be a logical order in which the human motivation is progressing, the needs are surfacing. This may be more in terms of ideas. As a matter of fact, it posits or it tries to develop a unidirectional flow of human motivation, process of human motivation. There is too much of rationalization, too much of reasoning, thinking that fellow who has economic needs goes for social needs, goes for something else in that logical fashion. But this is not empirically true. A person who was very selfish, I think the basic needs, physiological needs are selfish needs. The third level needs, social needs, are unselfish needs. So you are showing a progress of a man progressing from a selfish state to unselfish or social state. But there are people who change from being very helpful, very sociable, and working for everybody, they slowly become selfish. I think our freedom struggle and what has happened to some of the freedom fighters, some of them remained very clean, honest, and exemplary throughout their life. But there are cases, some of them would have become different. A person who was a hero in his younger days becomes a zero subsequently. So, this is the alternative perception of human nature. This is not included in Maslow's unidirectional change of human nature. Now, one more thing, his concept of prepotency of needs says that among 5 different needs, at any point of time, only one need is strong. This again is not really empirical. It doesn't stand to practical reasoning, perhaps. There may be people, ever so many people, who have two kinds of needs at the same time. You want food as well as security at the same time. So, this kind of situation is not taken care of. Finally, Abraham Maslow talked about self actualization. A self actualized person doesn't need any motivation from extraneous sources. A boss need not motivate him, a boss need not bother motivating him. Self actualized person is a self motivated person. The whole problem, I think, Abraham Maslow is helping us to realize that such people are few and far between. The tragedy of organization, the tragedy of administration is to have more self actualized people. They're not looking for money, they're not looking for comfort, they're not looking for company. They keep on working to satisfy some inner need they have. They're working for themselves. Of course, they're working for the organization. But it doesn't look they're working for organization. They're working for themselves. They'll be doing things for organization. So this is very important. I think the whole problem is how to, there are very few people who are self-actualized. How to replicate that? How to have more and more self-actualized people in the organization is a very, very complex and very challenging thing. Of course, Abraham Maslow has not given many cues for this. How to bring this? How to make a person who is not self-actualized become a self-actualized person? Of course, this is one of the limiting things about Maslow's contribution. But coming to an overall assessment, Abraham Maslow, his writings are very fascinating, make a very fascinating reading. You will get excitement. You feel that you have learned something. But whether what all he says neatly corresponds to practical realities is a moot point or a debatable question. Well, friends, we have now come to the end of it, and let me just recapitulate what I have said. Abraham Maslow has given one of the significant, very popular, very widely known theories of motivation, and his theory of motivation is theory of need hierarchy, which is based on the concept of prepotency of needs and 5 levels of needs, and he has portrayed a complex mix of needs, and he has patterned them, shown them a hierarchy, and he has ended our confusion. You can, of course, whether what all he presented is actually corresponding 100% to reality perhaps is debatable, but he has shown us a very interesting way in which we can understand human motivation, sources of motivation, and the link between motivation and efficiency or productivity in organizations. Thank you.